Hey guys, I'm Sebastian at Performance Place, part of the locally world famous Pear in Costa Mesa, California. We're going to cover nerd neck today and 5 simple things you can do to reduce some of the pain associated with nerd neck. Now you might wonder what it is. Well, it presents differently in different people, but there's a lot of times pain in the local neck, just as so. Sometimes people have headaches that kind of travel up into this base area of the skull, sometimes around the top, sometimes they localize in the temple area here. And sometimes people get things like shoulder blade pain right in the area you can't put sunblock on, issues into the tricep or bicep area, outer elbow, inner elbow, sometimes tingling in the hands, tightness of the pec, tightness of the upper trap. As you can kind of see, there's a lot of things that can be associated with it. Now, we say nerd neck because people like kind of doing this stuff, right? We also call it iHunch, iPosture, eye devices, right? Forward head posture, up rounded shoulders, forward head posture, if you will. And you can kind of see the reasons why. All right. We have other videos on this too, by the way, if you're looking for more information specifically. We also have this massive article that we wrote too. So let's cover some 5 things today. I wrote them down. Number 1 is get rid of your pillow. Number 2 is go for more walks. Number 3 is use a foam roller. Number 4 is start lifting more weights, and number 5 is drink more water. I'm going to show you some of the ways we use this today and why they work, but at any point, if you feel motivated just to have someone help you, we're here, okay? We do virtual or in person. We'd love to help you out, and usually nerd neck and things associated with nerd necks are pretty simple. And so, by the way, I don't like the term nerd neck. I'm just going off it because that's what people look for nowadays, so we should just call it what it is. Anyways, the first thing is get rid of your pillow. Now, a lot of you, some of you, I guess I should mention, is that your problem is rooted from having a pillow that's just too big or not supportive enough. I know there's things like your, expensive pillows out there and so on. By the way, this towel is too big. It's just white, so I picked it for the contrast of the floor. But using something like a towel is actually pretty darn good for cradling the neck at nighttime when you're sleeping. I've done this myself multiple times when I'm dealing with some neck pain and shoulder blade and all that kind of stuff. And something like, actually this worked pretty good. I got to try this bigger version here every once in a while. So this actually feels a little firm for me, so I'm going to soften it up a tad, just like this. I don't need it to push my neck up, I just need it to cradle my neck. And a lot of people who are dealing with neck pain associated with iHunch, iPosture, nerd neck, whatever you want to call it, it's because they're always head forward. And so you imagine if you have a pillow, like most people do, it's kind of pushing you up into the same position, which is, there's no reason, you wonder why you wake up and roll around and have all these issues at night. And so a lot of times what we're just looking for in getting rid of this problem is just getting the back exposed to more extension, the mid-back exposed to more extension, and getting the neck to generally be a little bit flatter, or even things like looking up. And so I've had people sleep like this. I've slept like this, and I've just slept like a rock. When the prior night, I've had so many issues tossing and turning. I had to find, crumpling your pillow up and everything like that. So this is surprisingly very helpful. It doesn't cost anything. In worst case scenario, it doesn't work. You grab your other pillow and you put it underneath, and that's it. All right. Obviously, there's side sleepers and so on. It makes it a little bit more complicated, so you might need a pillow to hug onto and so on. I'm not going to go through it in this video because there's a few other things we could do. All right, number 2. What was number 2? Number 2 was go for more walks. Now, I should take this as we kind of mentioned earlier, of what this is, what the problem is there's a lot of this, all right? Generally, this is not a bad thing to do. It's not like it's the devil or it's like you can't do it. But a lot of times people who have problems, let's just say I have a problem with my finger, bending my finger backwards because that's the way I sprained it, is not going to make it better. You take that movement away for a little bit and then you start to reintroduce it again. And so a lot of times people who have this problem, we try to remove it a little bit, and we start to have them do things like walking. Now walking, as you can see, my head lifted up, my chest is exposed, my spine is a little bit more upright, and I'm just, talking to the world. Now what won't work is this kind of walking. Put your phone away, all right? Start looking around at the world. Start talking to people again. Put your phone away, all right? The reason why this is called what it is because you're looking down at a screen all the time, all right? I do the same thing for work, and as you can see, I'm looking at the screen right now. But you need a little bit of a balance system, all right? So if you want to take the easy way out is take your phone away, all right? If you want to do more work, you do the things like I'm talking about right now, which is adding things versus subtracting things. Taking your phone away is subtracting something. It's very helpful and easiest thing to do, all right? Now the other thing we can do is expose the back, to low back, or the upper back to a little bit more extension. As I mentioned earlier, that rounded upper chest, or the rounded chest area, and then kind of the poking in the neck, and all that's associated with this problem. It's the mechanism of injury. And so doing something that's the opposite, like a foam roller, is pretty simple. Just rolling back and forth, pretty easy. You can see my mid back is pretty exposed to extension, which is all I really want. If you're doing this too much, can obviously create issues just like too much forward hunched over posture. You can even do stuff like this. All of it's good, all right? As long as it doesn't hurt or create any issues, do it a little bit and see how you feel. I had someone tell me before, I gave them a foam roller, and they said, wow, this was magic. I should have been doing this years ago. She also had a forward rounded posture. She spends about 5 minutes a day on it, and she says she feels phenomenal. That's all she really needed to do in her case. Now, the fourth thing is exercise or doing some weightlifting. Now, I don't need everyone to be a bodybuilder. I feel like the perception of weightlifting is bodybuilding. That's not necessarily what we're looking at. We're looking at just general exposure. Let's just say if one of my exercises was a single arm dumbbell row, okay, which is grabbing a dumbbell. Let's say that weight is nominal at this point. Usually I'd be standing a little bit more, but this is just for video's sake. I would grab the dumbbell and I would pull the dumbbell up to my side, all right? If I'm doing this well, I'm extended again, right? Now you always see the person in the gym going like this. You're like, gosh, what are they doing? Well, they haven't been coached yet, and so they need to be coached a little bit more just to keep away from the floor and pull the weight to you. This builds some of the muscles which are helpful in allowing you to reintegrate the forward head posture again. Again, the forward head posture, there's nothing wrong with keeping it at some point, but right now it might be what's driving your problem, and so removing it, or at least reducing it, is one of the easiest things you can do. Now, the last thing is drinking water. I know this sounds ridiculous, and there are nutritional aspects to having pain as well, but drinking water, what did I say was actually creating the issue? So drinking water is just the exact opposite, all right? And so you take little sips of water throughout the day, you'll notice a second thing happens. You got to go to the bathroom. And so you get up and you start walking, which takes care of number two. So this is just almost tricking you into doing things that we already talked about doing. So I know these seem like very simple tips. They are, because they work. We can overcomplicate things a lot of times in recovering from things like this. People do it all the time. They start adding more things versus just changing their lifestyle a little bit. So if you guys need help with this, we spend a lot of times, we see a lot of people with this, all right? We see people with shoulder blade, upper trap, pec stuff, headaches. We see a lot of people with different types of presentations. We just curate something and customize something that works well for you. Not all these will work for everybody, all right? Sometimes they're a little bit too simple and basic because people have more advanced things going on. So, but we'd love to help you out. We're in Costa Mesa, California. We see people virtually or in person. And so there's really no reason to not get help anymore, okay? Just reach out to us and see if we can help you. Maybe we're not a good fit, but we'd love to help out if we can. So link is in the description below. Subscribe and like. We have other videos like this coming out as well on a weekly basis.